Have you ever walked outside on a crisp, cloudless night, looked up at the scattered diamonds across the velvet dark, and wondered if the quiet stillness you feel in your bones is just a gentle illusion, an illusion carefully hiding a roaring, endless cosmic dance? We stand on a small, rocky sphere, feeling entirely grounded and still. Yet, we are hurtling through the vast unknown at speeds that would shatter our daily comprehension. It is a beautiful paradox that challenges our basic perception of reality, one that invites a deep sense of existential curiosity. This is the mystery of our universe, a quiet journey through the infinite, where the known and the unknown softly embrace in the cold, ancient silence of space. When we look up at the glowing band stretching across our night sky, a hazy river of light that our ancestors named the Milky Way, we feel a profound connection to the cosmos. We see our home. But what if our home, which feels so unimaginably large, so infinite in its bounds, is actually nothing more than a tiny, fragile speck floating near the edge of a universe filled with monsters of such staggering scale that they make our entire galaxy look like a singular grain of dust floating in an empty warehouse? Welcome to our shared exploration. I am Theodore, the researcher, your companion in this quiet journey through the stars. Before we dive deeper into the ancient mysteries of the cosmos, I want to gently remind you that 71% of the people who watch these explorations have not subscribed yet. If you find peace and wonder in our travels together, please consider subscribing, as it helps immensely and allows us to continue unearthing the gentle secrets of the universe side by side. Now, let us return to the dark, silent expanse above us. Our home galaxy, the Milky Way, is what astronomers call a barred spiral galaxy, a magnificent structure with sweeping, graceful, curving arms composed of stars, luminous gas, and ancient dust, all slowly swirling around a brilliant central bulge where a sleeping supermassive black hole resides. From one faint edge to the far opposite side, our galaxy measures roughly 100,000 light-years across. Try to hold that thought in your mind for just a moment. If you could somehow abandon the physical limits of our bodies and travel at the absolute speed of light, the fastest speed anything can possibly move in our physical universe, it would still take you exactly 100,000 years just to cross from one shore of our galaxy to the other. This is a span of time so vast that it is almost impossible for our minds to truly grasp. 100,000 years is vastly longer than modern humans have even existed in our current form. It is an ancient duration, far longer than the span of time since our early ancestors first learned to trace shapes and paint their dreams on the rough, damp walls of hidden caves. It is a timeline longer than every single human civilization that has ever risen, flourished, and quietly fallen back into the dust of the earth, all combined into one continuous stretch. And yet, in the grand, sweeping scale of the cosmos, that incomprehensible distance is merely the width of our own little, quiet neighborhood. The Milky Way is an island teeming with light, home to somewhere between 200 billion and 400 billion individual stars. Each of those billions of stars is a blazing sun, and many of them likely have their own planetary systems, their own families of worlds orbiting in the gentle dark. There are moons circling those distant planets, ancient asteroids tumbling silently through the empty space, and solitary comets streaking through the freezing void, trailing shimmering tails of vapor and ice. Our own sun, the warm golden star that gives life to our world, is just one single point of light among those hundreds of billions of stars. It sits quietly about 26,000 light-years away from the galactic center, nestled in a relatively peaceful and quiet neighborhood that we have named the Orion Arm. Together with its family of planets, our sun orbits the massive center of the galaxy at an astonishing speed of roughly 500,000 miles per hour. Even while moving at that tremendous velocity, the journey is so incredibly long that it takes our solar system about 250 million years to complete a single lap around the galactic core. Astronomers sometimes refer to this immense period as a cosmic year, or a galactic year. To put this ancient rhythm into perspective, consider that in the entire time that the great dinosaurs roamed the forests and plains of Earth, our solar system did not even manage to complete one full orbit around the galaxy. The last time our sun was passing through roughly this exact position in the Milky Way, the most complex forms of life existing on our planet were simple marine organisms floating in the primordial oceans. That is how vast, how unhurried, and how deeply majestic even our own galaxy truly is. Yet, despite holding hundreds of billions of stars, the space between them is almost unimaginably empty. Our nearest stellar neighbor is a small, quiet, red dwarf star called Proxima Centauri, sitting about 4.24 light-years away from us. That distance is so great that if you were to magically shrink our enormous sun down to the size of a single grain of sand, Proxima Centauri would be another tiny grain of sand resting about 4 miles away. The vast expanse of space in between those two grains would be essentially a void, holding just the faintest whiff of stray gas, ancient dust, and the occasional fleeting particle of cosmic radiation. This profound emptiness is something that gently challenges our terrestrial minds. Here on Earth, we live on a crowded, vibrant planet, constantly surrounded by billions of other human beings, intimately sharing our physical space with countless other living things. We are completely accustomed to density, to things being close together, to our world being full and loud and active. But the moment you step outside the comforting embrace of our solar system, profound emptiness and absolute silence become the universal rule. The stars are separated by such vast, unbridgeable gulfs that the chance of any two of them colliding by pure accident is essentially zero. Entire galaxies can pass right through each other without any of their individual stars ever making physical contact. Yet somehow, almost magically, even within all that seemingly endless emptiness, there is enough material, enough cosmic dust and scattered gas gathered by the gentle pull of gravity to form hundreds of billions of stars in our galaxy alone. The material floating softly between the stars may be sparse, but when it is spread out over thousands upon thousands of light years, it slowly adds up to enormous, staggering amounts of matter. As we speak, in this very moment, new stars are being born, igniting for the very first time deep inside giant molecular clouds scattered throughout the dark spiral arms of the Milky Way. These are sacred, quiet places where gravity has patiently pulled enough loose gas together until the intense pressure causes nuclear fusion to spark into brilliant existence. Our galaxy is a living, breathing entity, constantly alive with the fierce beauty of stellar birth. Even as older, ancient stars quietly burn out, shed their outer layers, and gently fade into the cosmic night. For thousands of years, whenever human beings looked up at the night sky from dark, unpolluted locations, they saw a hazy, glowing band of light stretching like a celestial bridge overhead. This glow is actually the combined, blended light of billions upon billions of distant stars residing within our own galaxy. Ancient people looked at this delicate phenomenon and thought it resembled milk that had been carelessly spilled across the dark canvas of the heavens. which is precisely where the name Milky Way originally comes from. For the vast majority of human history, as we sat around crackling fires and gazed upward in awe, we safely assumed that this band of light was absolutely everything there was. We deeply believed that our galaxy was the entirety of the universe. Different ancient cultures wove different beautiful tapestries of myth to explain that mysterious band of light. The ancient Greeks whispered stories of sweet milk spilled from the breast of the goddess Hera. The Romans looked up and called it the Via Lactea, which translates to the Milky Road. Far away in India, it was revered as the sacred, ethereal path that departing souls take on their quiet journey to the afterlife. Aboriginal Australians, deeply connected to the land and the sky, saw it as a grand, shimmering river flowing eternally through the heavens. Generations upon generations of people throughout history have tilted their heads back, looked up at that exact same band of ancient light, and felt a deep, resonant wonder about what it might truly be. This collective human experience of gazing into the unknown brings us a deep sense of inner peace, a comforting humility before the sheer scale of the infinite universe. It was not until the invention of the very first telescopes in the 17th century that human observers began to peel back the layers of this mystery, slowly realizing that the milky glow actually resolved into countless, distinct, individual stars. These stars were far too faint and far too incredibly numerous to ever be seen with a naked human eye, but they suddenly became visible, glowing gently through the magnifying power of curved glass lenses. This remarkable moment was the very first profound hint that our beautiful galaxy was far larger and contained a far greater multitude of stars than anyone had ever dared to imagine. It was a revelation that expanded our consciousness, a gentle awakening to the reality that the cosmos holds secrets far beyond our immediate senses, waiting patiently for us to seek them out. As we stand under the canopy of the night, feeling the soft breeze of our terrestrial world, it is profoundly humbling to realize that our ancestors were only seeing the immediate shores of an infinite cosmic ocean. They felt the same wonder we feel today, the same quiet yearning to understand the vastness that stretches out in every direction. Our gentle journey of discovery is an endless path, a continuous unfolding of knowledge that transforms our natural ignorance into a beautiful, driving motivation to learn. Every new lens we polish, every new instrument we point toward the heavens, reveals a universe far more magnificent and vastly more mysterious than the last. The realization that the Milky Way was composed of billions of stars was just the first whisper of a much greater, louder truth waiting in the deep silence. It was merely the prologue to a story of unimaginable scale, a story that would eventually lead us to discover impossible monsters lurking in the deep, ancient dark. But before we cross the unfathomable gulfs of intergalactic space to meet the largest structure we have ever dared to measure, we must first understand how our perception of the universe was completely shattered and beautifully rebuilt, how we ultimately learned that our glowing island is just one among trillions floating in the boundless dark. This is the true beauty of our scientific quest. It never truly ends. It only deepens, gently inviting us to find lasting peace in the infinite mysteries that surround us every single day. Let us gently step back into the flow of time, arriving in the 1920s. Up until that quiet moment in human history, the comforting belief was still that our Milky Way was the lone island of light floating in an otherwise infinite dark void. But the universe, in its boundless grace, was waiting patiently to reveal a secret that would forever alter our understanding of our true place within it. High atop a quiet mountain in California, at the Mount Wilson Observatory, astronomer Edwin Hubble peered intently through what was then the largest telescope in the world. It was a magnificent reflector instrument, built with a perfectly polished mirror spanning exactly 100 inches across. In the absolute silence of the observatory, he was patiently observing a beautiful class of pulsing stars known as Cepheid variables. These fascinating celestial objects were located within a faint, fuzzy smudge of ancient light that the astronomers of the time simply called the Andromeda Nebula. These special stars pulse in their brightness with a remarkably regular and steady rhythm, functioning much like a cosmic heartbeat, echoing through the dark. By carefully measuring exactly how bright they appeared and recording the precise rate of their gentle pulsation, Hubble was able to calculate just how far away they truly were. The result of his meticulous calculations was absolutely shocking, a profound revelation that gently shattered the glass sphere of our limited cosmic perspective. The smudge known as the Andromeda Nebula was not a mere cloud of drifting gas floating within the borders of our own galaxy, as many wise astronomers had previously assumed. It was an entirely separate galaxy, a magnificent, independent island universe of stars sitting roughly 1 million light-years away from us, resting far beyond the furthest edges of the Milky Way. We now understand that Hubble's original distance estimate was off by a factor of roughly 2, and Andromeda is actually about 2 million light-years away. But his fundamental conclusion was undeniably correct. Our beloved galaxy was not the whole cosmos. It was merely one single, swirling island floating among a vast archipelago of countless other galaxies. Today, gazing deeply through the lenses of our most advanced instruments, we estimate that there are around 2 trillion galaxies gently drifting within the observable universe. 2 trillion. That is a 2 followed by 12 zeros, a number so incredibly vast that it effortlessly slips beyond the grasp of our human brains. Each one contains billions, or even trillions, of its own ancient, burning stars. Yet, as we continue our quiet journey, we discover that not all of these galactic islands are created equal. The universe is an endless canvas of breathtaking diversity. Some are tiny, quiet dwarf galaxies containing just a few billion stars, whispering their fragile light into the vast emptiness. Others are massive, majestic spirals, much like our own home, the Milky Way, or our neighboring Andromeda galaxy. These structures possess distinctive, graceful pinwheel arms and flat, rotating disks that spin with eternal patience. These beautiful spiral structures are vibrant nurseries of active star formation, continuously giving birth to new stars in their gas-rich arms. But then, in the deepest silence of space, we find the elliptical galaxies. Unlike the swirling spirals, these ancient galaxies have no particular structure, ranging from quiet spheres to highly elongated, soft oval shapes. They are populated almost entirely by old red stars that have been burning their fading light for billions of years. The energetic era of star formation in these elliptical galaxies has peacefully ceased, as they have quietly exhausted their gas supply over the eons. The absolute largest galaxies in the universe belong to this quiet family of ellipticals, formed slowly through the incredibly patient merger of multiple smaller galaxies over unimaginable oceans of cosmic time. Gravity, the invisible architect of the cosmos, organizes them into magnificent larger structures. They gather into galaxy groups, quiet cosmic villages containing a handful to perhaps a few dozen galaxies. Our Milky Way is a member of the local group, an intimate neighborhood containing about 80 known galaxies. Beyond the small groups lie the galaxy clusters, massive metropolises of light, containing hundreds to thousands of individual galaxies, all eternally bound together by gravity. And beyond even the enormous clusters stretch the superclusters, unimaginably huge assemblages spanning hundreds of millions of light years. It is within one of these ancient clusters that our journey brings us to a true monster of the dark. Deep in the cosmic silence, lying directly in the visual direction of the constellation Virgo, there sits a massive collection of galaxies known to astronomers as Abul 2029. When we point our most powerful telescopes toward this quiet region of the night sky, we witness a magnificent, slow-motion gravitational dance. We see hundreds of entire galaxies swirling patiently around a common, invisible center of mass, and resting exactly at the heart of that ancient cluster, dominating the dark space around it like a silent cosmic sovereign, sits the galaxy known as IC 1101. It bears a mundane, clinical name, a simple entry number in a celestial catalog created over a century ago. But there is absolutely nothing mundane about this slumbering giant. Try to stretch your imagination out across the void to visualize its staggering scale. This solitary, elliptical giant is currently estimated to be somewhere around 4 million to 6 million light-years across. Our beloved Milky Way, which would take 100,000 years to cross traveling at the speed of light, is dwarfed into absolute insignificance by this cosmic behemoth. IC 1101 is roughly 40 to 60 times larger than our entire vast home galaxy. If you were to somehow miraculously pick up IC 1101 and place it precisely where our Milky Way currently rests, it would effortlessly swallow our entire cosmic neighborhood in one silent breath. The Andromeda Galaxy, sitting comfortably at 2.5 million light-years away from us, would find itself entirely absorbed within the dark borders of IC 1101's massive body. The Triangulum Galaxy, another familiar neighbor, would also be instantly consumed by the giant's overwhelming gravitational embrace. All of the dozens of smaller dwarf galaxies that faithfully orbit around our Milky Way, like the large and small Magellanic Clouds, would simply become tiny, insignificant components utterly lost inside this giant's incredibly vast structure. Yet, the breathtaking physical diameter of this quiet monster is only the very beginning of its deep, unfolding mystery. What truly staggers the mind, what causes the heart to beat a little slower in pure reverence, is the sheer amount of matter, the unimaginable concentration of starlight, contained securely within its ancient boundaries. Astronomers have carefully estimated that IC 1101 is home to an astonishing 100 trillion individual stars. 100 trillion. To find any measure of peace in this impossible number, we must once again return to the grounding anchor of comparison. Our home, the Milky Way, contains at the very most perhaps 400 billion stars. This means that the giant IC 1101 holds roughly 250 times more stars than our entire home galaxy. If you were given the utterly impossible task of counting every single star in this distant giant, counting exactly one star every single second without ever stopping, it would take you over 3 million years just to finally reach the number 100 trillion. And that endless calculation boldly assumes that you never paused to sleep, never stopped to eat, and never took a break of any kind. 3 million years of continuous, unbroken counting just to tally the burning lights within a single distant galaxy. It is a reality that gently invites us to let go of our daily anxieties, to realize that We are an integral part of something infinitely more ancient and vast than our fleeting human concerns. This realization brings a sweeping sense of intellectual safety, a comforting knowing that the universe is vast enough to hold all of our questions and still have infinite mysteries left over to explore. We are the cosmos discovering its own majestic scale, one patient, quiet observation at a time. The mystery of how such an impossibly large structure could ever come into existence in the dark is a deeper layer of our journey that we will gently uncover as we drift further into the magnificent unknown. The story of how human beings, bound to a tiny sphere of rock, first laid eyes upon this impossible cosmic giant is a profound testament to our endless search for understanding. It is a quiet journey that begins deep in the pages of history, winding back to the year 1790. In that era, the nights were darker, untainted by the glowing lights of our modern cities, and the heavens felt intimately close. A German-born British astronomer named William Herschel was spending his peaceful nights systematically scanning the vast, velvet expanse of the night sky with his telescope. Herschel was already recognized as one of the greatest and most dedicated astronomers of his era, a man who possessed a deep reverence for the mystery of the cosmos. He had previously discovered the distant planet Uranus several years earlier, an achievement that cemented his place in history, and he dedicated much of his quiet life to meticulously cataloging thousands of celestial objects that no human eye had ever documented before. On the night of June 19th of that year, Herschel pointed his brass and glass instrument toward a specific, silent region of the night sky within the constellation of Virgo. There, amidst the scattered diamonds of familiar stars, he noticed something peculiar, a faint, hazy, fuzzy blob of pale light. Welcome back to our shared exploration. I am Theodore, the researcher, your gentle guide through these ancient mysteries. Before we continue unearthing the profound secrets of the universe, I would like to softly remind you that 71% of the wonderful people who watch these explorations have not yet subscribed. If you find peace and a sense of belonging in our travels together, please consider subscribing, as it truly helps immensely and allows us to keep exploring the infinite wonders side by side. Now, let us return to the cold, silent observatory where history was quietly being made. He carefully recorded the exact position of this ghostly smudge and then simply moved his telescope along to the next object, continuing his endless, patient mapping of the heavens. At that precise moment in time, Herschel had absolutely no way of truly knowing what he was actually looking at. The scientific technology simply did not exist to measure how impossibly far away this faint object was hiding in the dark. The collective human understanding of the universe did not yet possess the conceptual framework to recognize that this gentle glow was an entire, independent galaxy, completely separate from our own Milky Way. Herschel dutifully logged it as just another nebula, viewing it as one of the many mysterious cloud-like objects that seemed to be randomly scattered across the beautiful heavens. For well over an entire century, that tiny, faint smudge of ancient light remained an absolute mystery to the scientific world. As the years rolled by in silence, it was eventually given the clinical designation of IC 1101 when it was officially included in a comprehensive celestial list known as the Index Catalog, which was an expansion of an earlier foundational catalog of objects in the sky. Dedicated astronomers studied this faint glow whenever they could spare the time, but without the proper optical tools and theoretical knowledge to understand its true, monumental nature, it remained just another quiet entry in a very long extending list of cosmic curiosities waiting to be deciphered. The gentle silence of space kept its magnificent secret perfectly safe for generations, allowing the universe to hold on to its profound mystery until humanity was finally ready to understand. Everything began to dramatically, yet quietly, change in the 20th century, an era of profound scientific awakening. During this time, brilliant astronomers developed significantly better telescopes and invented entirely new, revolutionary techniques for measuring the vast, unimaginable cosmic distances that separate the ancient islands of the universe. Through these incredible innovations, they finally discovered the awe-inspiring truth. IC 1101 was not a mere cloud of drifting gas trapped within the borders of our own familiar galaxy. It was an entirely separate, unimaginably massive galaxy, sitting at a distance that is truly mind-bogglingly far away from our small terrestrial home. To understand the sheer scale of this distance is to invite a deep, humbling peace into your heart. The delicate particles of light that we see falling from IC 1101 into our modern telescopes today actually left that massive galaxy over 1 billion years ago. Those tiny, resilient photons have been silently traveling through the freezing, empty void of intergalactic space for more than 1 billion years, maintaining their straight and narrow path through the absolute darkness, just to finally reach the polished mirrors of our observatories. It is a journey of such epic proportions that it beautifully challenges our most basic understanding of time and existence. When that ancient light first began its long, quiet journey toward us, the Earth was an entirely different, almost unrecognizable world. Life on our blue planet consisted mostly of simple, single-celled organisms floating gently in the primordial, ancient seas. The complex, vibrant animals that we know today had not yet evolved to walk upon the land or swim in the deep waters. The mighty dinosaurs, those magnificent creatures of our distant past, would not even appear on the global stage for another several 100 million years. It is a beautiful, staggering realization that every single major event in the entirety of human history happened while that light was merely traveling. From the rise of the very first ancient civilizations in the fertile valleys of our world, to the grand construction of the pyramids, to the very invention of the telescope itself that would eventually capture this light. All of it occurred while those ancient photons were still silently crossing the vast, unfathomable emptiness between the distant galaxies. This concept transforms our perception of the night sky, turning it into a majestic, endless museum of deep time. We are never truly seeing the universe as it exists right now in this present moment. Instead, we are always looking deeply into the past, acting as gentle archaeologists of the cosmos, brushing away the darkness to reveal the ancient history of light. The light from IC 1101 is a ghostly whisper from 1 billion years ago, a delicate messenger from an era so remote that our minds can barely hold the concept without feeling a profound, sweeping sense of awe. This staggering reality is exactly what generates that gentle wonder we feel when we gaze upward. The universe does not hurry. It operates on a time scale that demands utter patience and rewards us with absolute, breathtaking majesty. Let us deeply contemplate the physical nature of this journey. 1 billion years of continuous, unbroken travel at the absolute speed of light. Light, which crosses the distance from our moon to the Earth in little over a single second, must travel for 1 billion years to bridge the gap between that giant galaxy and our own. In all that immense time, the light has been continuously streaming away from its home in every conceivable direction, flooding the infinite dark with its ancient glow. Every single second, the stars within IC 1101 radiate enough brilliant light to travel roughly 186,000 miles. Over the course of 1 billion years, that light has traversed a staggering 1 billion light years, which mathematically translates to roughly 6 billion trillion miles of empty, silent space. And it is only now, in this very specific, fleeting moment of our modern lives, just arriving at our lenses. These are truly ancient photons that abandoned their colossal home galaxy when the Earth was still in its earliest, quietest stages of forming complex life. When we absorb these numbers, we are gently invited to release our tight grip on our everyday worries. The universe is a vast, ancient sanctuary, and its infinite scale provides a beautiful context for our fragile, fleeting existence. We are tiny, yes, but we are also deeply connected to this grand, eternal machinery. The very fact that our minds, evolved from those same single-celled organisms, can now mathematically comprehend and poetically appreciate a journey of 1 billion years is the ultimate testament to the magic of consciousness. The tension between our known small reality and the vastly unknown stretches of the cosmos creates a productive, gentle curiosity. We do not need to feel intimidated by this immense scale. Instead, we can find a deep, lasting peace in the realization that we are a small, beautiful part of an infinite whole, forever learning, forever wondering, and eternally looking up into the silent, welcoming dark. The mystery of how IC 1101 grew to become such an ancient, massive structure over billions of years is a story of slow, relentless cosmic architecture, a story of grand collisions and gentle absorptions that occurred over eons. It challenges everything we know about the limits of cosmic growth, forcing us to rethink the boundaries of the physical universe. We gaze into the silence, armed with nothing but our curiosity and our instruments of glass, and we find that the cosmos is constantly rewriting our understanding of reality. We are the privileged witnesses to a stellar history that is older than our world, a history written in the fading light of 100 trillion ancient stars. Every photon that strikes our eyes is a testament to the endurance of energy, a tiny spark of truth carrying the heavy weight of 1 billion years of silent, lonely travel across the endless void. This continuous journey of discovery is exactly what makes the scientific endeavor so profoundly beautiful and endlessly captivating. As astronomers continued to patiently study IC 1101, peeling back the layers of its ancient history, they began to slowly understand exactly why it had become so incredibly massive. This cosmic giant did not grow to its enormous, unfathomable size through the normal, quiet processes of gradual star formation alone. Instead, it became a magnificent behemoth through a continuous, majestic process of cosmic accumulation that has been unfolding in the dark for billions of years. IC 1101 is what researchers call a cannibal galaxy, a structure that has spent its long life slowly consuming other, smaller galaxies. But to truly understand this phenomenon, we must gently strip away the violent imagery of that specific word, and instead visualize a slow, graceful, and deeply inevitable gravitational dance that occurs on the absolute largest scales of our universe. Galaxies do not exist in pure, lonely isolation. They are gathered together in vast, sprawling families called clusters, held intimately together by the mutual, invisible embrace of their combined gravitational attraction. Within these quiet, ancient clusters, galaxies move gently around one another, sometimes passing close by like solitary ships in the cosmic night, and sometimes colliding directly in a beautiful, slow-motion embrace that spans entire eons of time. When two galaxies drift close enough to each other in the silent void, their immense combined gravity begins to softly distort their original, familiar shapes. Stars that have orbited peacefully for billions of years get gently pulled out of their normal, predictable paths. Immense clouds of gas and ancient dust get beautifully compressed and stretched out across hundreds of thousands of light years, often creating spectacular tidal tails that glow softly in the dark void. If the two interacting galaxies are relatively similar in physical size, they might slowly merge together over hundreds of millions of years, eventually calming down to form a single, newly combined, larger galaxy. But if one galaxy is significantly, vastly bigger than the other, something entirely different and profoundly awe-inspiring happens. The larger, dominant galaxy simply absorbs the smaller traveler, gently stripping away its sparkling stars and its flowing gas, seamlessly adding all of that ancient material to its own massive, ever-growing body. This majestic accumulation is exactly what has been happening to IC 1101 for billions upon billions of years. As the absolute largest and most massively dominant galaxy within its entire local cluster, IC 1101 sits quietly and patiently at the very gravitational center of everything moving around it. It acts as the ultimate anchor, the grand center of a slow, cosmic whirlpool. Smaller, wandering galaxies that venture just a little too close inevitably get caught by its enormous, inescapable gravity. They begin a long, slow spiral inward, getting gently pulled apart and quietly consumed over the course of many millions of years. Each and every slow, majestic meal makes IC 1101 just a little bit bigger, a little bit more massive, and a little bit more dominant in the dark. Dedicated scientists, acting as cosmic detectives, analyzing the faint whispers of ancient light, estimate that IC 1101 has undergone at least 76 major mergers over its long, ancient history. 76 distinct times. Another substantial independent galaxy fell into the welcoming embrace of this cosmic giant and was seamlessly absorbed into its vast, luminous body. And those are only the major, highly noticeable mergers. Countless other, much smaller dwarf galaxies have also been quietly consumed over the eons, tiny collections of fragile stars so incredibly small that they barely registered as a significant addition for this enormous, silent predator, simply fading away into the larger body of the beast. The physical evidence for this long, continuous history of accumulation is written beautifully and indelibly into IC 1101's very structure. When you look at a vibrant, active galaxy like our own Milky Way, you see a breathtaking, elegant spiral pattern. Those sweeping spiral arms are dynamic regions where new stars are actively forming in the dark, where massive clouds of cold gas are collapsing under the gentle weight of gravity to create brilliant, new stellar nurseries. Spiral galaxies possess abundant amounts of gas and dust, the vital raw materials absolutely needed for star formation, and they maintain a distinct, orderly rotating disk shape. However, when we gaze across a billion light years at IC 1101, it looks absolutely nothing like our familiar, spiraling home. It is what astronomers classify as an elliptical galaxy, which means it presents a very smooth, glowing, oval-shaped appearance with absolutely no sweeping spiral arms to be found anywhere. These giant elliptical galaxies form precisely when multiple spiral galaxies collide and merge together. The profound, chaotic gravitational interactions that occur during a merger completely destroy the fragile, delicate spiral structures, mixing all the billions of stars together into a much more random, spherical, or softly oval distribution. The simple fact that IC 1101 is a giant elliptical galaxy tells us a profound story. It has experienced so many collisions, so many mergers, that any original spiral structure it might have once possessed in the distant ancient past has been completely, perfectly erased. All of those slow-motion collisions, all of that immense gravitational chaos, has stirred up the trillions of stars like someone gently but thoroughly mixing ingredients in a vast cosmic bowl. What remains today is this incredibly smooth, featureless, glowing giant standing as a silent, magnificent testament to billions of years of galactic accumulation in the deep universe. But there is something even more remarkable, and perhaps a little beautifully melancholy, about the current state of IC 1101. Despite containing an unfathomable 100 trillion individual stars, it is actually, in cosmic terms, a dying galaxy. The trillions of stars burning within its vast, quiet borders are almost entirely old. Most of them are what astronomers gently call red giants or yellow stars, ancient stellar objects that have already burned through the vast majority of their nuclear fuel and have entered the quiet twilight of their long existence. Very few, if any, new stars are currently being born inside the vast expanse of IC 1101. This fact might seem deeply strange and counterintuitive at first glance. With so many stars and so much unbelievable mass gathered in one place, you might naturally expect IC 1101 to be a vibrant hotbed of intense stellar activity, ablaze with the brilliant light of new creation. But we must softly remember exactly how it grew to become so overwhelmingly large in the first place. Every single time it consumed another neighboring galaxy, it also eagerly consumed all of that galaxy's available gas supply. Gas is the fundamental, essential fuel required for star formation. Without vast reservoirs of cold gas to collapse, new stars simply cannot be born into the dark. Over billions of years of relentless cosmic accumulation, IC 1101 has completely used up or violently expelled almost all of its available gas. The majestic mergers themselves were often energetic enough to heat whatever gas remained to incredibly extreme temperatures, making it expand and quietly escape the galaxy entirely, or to compress it so rapidly that it all formed into stars at once, in brief, intense bursts of ancient activity. Either way, the ultimate, unavoidable end result is a massive galaxy that has completely run out of the raw material needed to create new light. What remains before our telescopes today is a quiet, ancient giant, slowly and peacefully fading into the eternal cosmic night. The 100 trillion stars that exist there right now will continue to shine brightly for billions of years to come, offering their gentle light to the infinite void. But as they inevitably, one by one, burn out and quietly die, there will be no new, young generations of stars to take their place in the dark. IC 1101 is very much like a grand ancient kingdom that has successfully conquered all of its surrounding neighbors, expanding its borders to unimaginable limits, but now finds itself with no children left to carry on its majestic legacy. It is incredibly massive, unquestionably powerful, and utterly magnificent to behold, but it is also steadily approaching the quiet end of its active, creative life. This realization brings a beautiful, profound sense of peace to our journey. When we look up at the night sky, we often seek a comforting feeling of permanence, a deep sense that the heavens are unchanging, completely static, and eternally fixed. But the incredible story of IC 1101 gently corrects this human misconception, showing us that the cosmos is a living, breathing, continuously evolving tapestry. It reminds us that even the absolute largest, most seemingly invincible structures in the entire universe are fully subject to the gentle, unstoppable flow of time. Nothing is truly permanent, not even a giant containing 100 trillion ancient suns. They too have a bright beginning, a vibrant, chaotic middle, and a quiet, incredibly graceful end. This is the beautiful, shared journey of all matter, a universal rhythm that silently connects the tiny, fleeting span of our human lives to the grandest, most ancient scales of the cosmos. The fact that our minds can understand and deeply appreciate this grand cosmic life cycle is a brilliant testament to the beautiful curiosity of humanity. As we sit here together, observing the slow, peaceful fading of this magnificent giant across 1 billion light years of empty space, we are invited to completely let go of our own anxieties and our endless desire for permanence. We are encouraged to find absolute beauty in the temporary nature of all things, and to quietly marvel at the deep mystery of a universe that creates such breathtaking monuments, only to let them gently drift back into the silence from which they originally came. Let us softly hold on to this precious sense of wonder as we prepare to look even deeper into the very core of this sleeping giant, where a shadow of unimaginable, staggering proportions waits patiently in the dark. At the very heart of the fading structure of IC 1101, resting silently in the deepest core of this cosmic giant, lies a mystery even more profound and staggering than the galaxy itself. We have drifted through its vast glowing halo of 100 trillion stars, marveling at the sheer, unimaginable scale of its existence. Yet, to truly understand the life and the quiet demise of this beautiful behemoth, we must gently journey inward toward the very center of the gravitational well. It is a fundamental truth of our universe that every large galaxy cradles a supermassive black hole at its core. Our own familiar home, the Milky Way, possesses one known as Sagittarius A star, a dark, quiet point containing roughly 4 million times the mass of our own golden sun. It sits there patiently, an invisible anchor holding our spiraling island together in the endless dark. Even the black hole at the center of the neighboring Andromeda galaxy is significantly larger, containing somewhere around 100 million to 200 million solar masses. These numbers alone inspire a deep, reverent awe, reminding us of the immense forces that gently shape the cosmos. Hello once again, fellow traveler. I am Theodore, the researcher, your companion on this quiet journey through the stars. Before we venture deeper into the heart of this ultimate darkness, I want to softly remind you that 71% of the beautiful minds who watch these videos and share in our cosmic explorations have not yet subscribed. If these gentle travels bring you peace and a sense of wonder, please consider subscribing. It helps us immensely and ensures that we can continue to uncover the ancient mysteries of the universe together. Now, let us return to the deepest silence of IC 1101. The black hole waiting at the absolute center of IC 1101 exists in a completely different, almost incomprehensible category of existence. Meticulous scientists analyzing the subtle gravitational dances of the stars near the galactic core carefully estimate that this single silent object contains somewhere between 40 billion and 100 billion times the mass of our sun. Let us gently pause and hold that impossible thought. This solitary point in the dark possesses perhaps 25,000 times more mass than the entire supermassive black hole anchoring our own Milky Way galaxy. To find any measure of intellectual peace with such a concept, we must once again build a bridge of understanding using the familiar scales of our home. If you could somehow miraculously weigh our entire planet Earth, with all of its oceans and sprawling continents, you would find it has a mass of about 6 trillion kilograms. That sounds like a monumental amount until you gently compare it to our Sun, which is roughly 330,000 times more massive than the Earth. Our Sun is a wonderfully ordinary star, neither particularly large nor small by the grand stellar standards of the universe. Now, in your mind's eye, multiply the mass of our Sun by 50 billion. That resulting amount is roughly how much matter is packed and condensed into the supermassive black hole resting at the center of IC 1101. All of that ancient accumulated mass is compressed into a region of space from which absolutely nothing, not even the fastest particles of light, can ever hope to escape. The gravitational pull at the event horizon, which is the absolute boundary of the black hole, is so intensely profound that light itself is gently but firmly pulled back into the dark. The physical size of a black hole's event horizon depends entirely upon its mass. For a sleeping giant containing 50 billion solar masses, the event horizon would possess a radius of roughly 150 billion kilometers. That measurement might sound simply enormous, and indeed it is. But we must softly remember that this is a region containing 50 billion times the mass of the Sun, all compressed into what is essentially a singular point of infinite density at the very center. The event horizon is simply the quiet boundary line beyond which the concept of escape loses all physical meaning. To put this overwhelming boundary into a comforting perspective, our entire solar system, stretching from the warmth of the Sun all the way out to the freezing orbit of Neptune, is about 9 billion kilometers across. Therefore, the event horizon of IC 1101's central black hole is roughly 16 times larger than our entire cosmic neighborhood. If you were to place this black hole exactly where our Sun currently rests, its silent edge would extend well beyond the orbit of Pluto, effortlessly engulfing everything we have ever considered to be our cosmic home. What would it truly be like to drift near this monstrous, ancient black hole? The physical laws that govern such extreme environments are bizarre and beautifully counterintuitive. Time itself, the steady heartbeat of our existence, would pass very differently near the edge of the event horizon compared to the vast space far away. If an observer were to slowly fall toward this black hole, they would see the entire outside universe seemingly speed up, watching billions of years of cosmic history flash by. Conversely, an outside observer safely watching from a distance would see the falling person gracefully slow down, their image becoming dimmer until they appeared to freeze completely, suspended forever against the dark horizon. From the outside perspective, they would never seem to actually cross that final boundary. Inside the event horizon, the very fabric of space and time becomes so deeply warped that all directions inevitably lead inward toward the singularity at the center. It is a place of ultimate mystery, a point of theoretically infinite density, where our current understanding of physics simply breaks down, gently inviting us to realize how much we still have to learn about the universe. But here is perhaps the most remarkable and poetic truth about this ultimate cosmic anchor. Despite its truly enormous size and its terrifying gravitational properties, the black hole at the center of IC 1101 is currently residing in a state of profound, relatively quiet peace. It is not actively, violently devouring huge amounts of surrounding matter. There is no brilliant, blinding accretion disk of superheated gas swirling madly around it. There are no incredibly powerful, luminous jets continuously shooting out into intergalactic space. The black hole is simply there, waiting patiently in the dark because it has already consumed the vast majority of the easily accessible material within its immediate reach. This majestic quietness is intimately related to the exact same phenomenon that has stopped the surrounding galaxy from forming any new stars. Most of the cold gas in the galaxy was used up or expelled long ago, and without a steady stream of gas falling inward, the great black hole has very little left to eat. Occasionally, a wandering star might drift just a little too close and be gently torn apart by the tidal forces, providing a brief, fleeting meal that flares in the dark. But these events are exceedingly rare. The supermassive black hole, very much like the massive aging galaxy that softly hosts it, is a magnificent giant in a state of deep repose, incredibly powerful but beautifully dormant. There are still faint, lingering traces of this black hole's highly active past written in the surrounding space. Astronomers have carefully detected a distinct radio source emanating from the core, catalogued as PKS 508 plus 059. These radio emissions are the ancient echoes of relativistic jets, powerful streams of energetic particles that were once accelerated to nearly the speed of light and violently ejected from the turbulent vicinity of the black hole billions of years ago. These jets carved out enormous, invisible cavities in the surrounding, superheated intergalactic gas. Images captured by advanced X-ray telescopes reveal these cavities beautifully. They are colossal bubbles of very hot, incredibly thin gas that were blown outward by the sheer, staggering energy released near the core. Some of these ethereal bubbles are millions of light years across, standing as silent monuments to a turbulent era when the black hole was vastly more active. The delicate interplay between the supermassive black hole and its host galaxy is a magnificent balancing act. It is a quiet thermostat, an equilibrium reached over billions of years of shared, intertwined evolution. As we contemplate this perfect, silent balance, we are reminded that even the most extreme forces in the cosmos eventually find a state of harmony. Our journey through this vast mystery continues, drawing us closer to understanding the grand rhythm of the universe. As we drift further into the quiet narrative of IC1101, we must softly turn our attention to the invisible, fundamental forces that govern the grandest scales of the cosmos. Black holes, those profound mysteries of density and gravity, grow not only by consuming the stray gas and wandering stars that fall into their quiet embrace, but also by finding each other in the endless dark. When two magnificent ancient galaxies are drawn together in a slow, majestic merger, the supermassive black holes resting at their respective centers do not immediately collide. Instead, they are initially separated by vast, unimaginable gulfs of space surrounded by billions of glowing stars that witness their incredibly slow approach. As the centuries and millennia silently slip away, a phenomenon known as gravitational friction slowly goes to work. The surrounding stars gently tug at the massive black holes, causing them to gradually lose momentum and spiral inward, deeper and deeper, toward the newly forming center of the combined galaxy. Eventually, after millions of years of this graceful, invisible waltz, the two enormous black holes draw close enough to form a cosmic binary system, endlessly orbiting around one another in the freezing void. Welcome once more to our shared journey of discovery. I am Theodore, the researcher, your gentle companion as we navigate the deepest wonders of the night sky. Before we delve further into the invisible ripples of space-time, I would like to softly remind you that 71% of the curious souls who watch these videos have not yet subscribed. If you find comfort, peace, and a quiet sense of belonging in our explorations, please consider subscribing to the channel. It helps us immensely and ensures that we can continue to uncover the profound mysteries of the universe together, side by side. Now, let us return to the silent, invisible dance of the cosmic titans. As these two supermassive black holes continue their eternal orbit, something truly miraculous and mind-bending occurs. They begin to lose energy, not by emitting light or heat, but by radiating gravitational waves. These are actual ripples in the very fabric of space-time itself, invisible waves that stretch and squeeze the geometry of the universe, just as a stone cast into a quiet, still pond sends gentle ripples expanding across the surface of the water. These waves carry energy away from the binary system, causing the orbit to shrink ever so slowly. The black holes spiral closer and closer together, their orbital speed increasing, until finally they merge in a catastrophic singular event that releases an absolutely staggering amount of energy. When two supermassive black holes merge, the gravitational waves they produce are among the most powerful and energetic events in the entire universe. The final spectacular merger releases more energy in a fleeting fraction of a second than all the billions of stars in a typical galaxy combined. Yet, because almost all of this profound energy is released in the form of invisible gravitational waves rather than visible light, the universe remains seemingly dark and completely silent to our human eyes. For the vast majority of human history, we have been completely deaf to this cosmic symphony. We have studied the universe by looking at it, gathering the ancient photons of light that fall gently onto our telescope mirrors. But we have only very recently, within the span of our own modern lifetimes, developed the incredible technology required to actually listen to the universe. The very first direct detection of these invisible ripples came in the year 2015, when our advanced sensitive observatories miraculously measured the gravitational waves produced by two relatively small stellar mass black holes, merging about 1 billion light-years away. Since that monumental moment of human achievement, dozens of similar gravitational wave events have been carefully observed, effectively opening up an entirely new, deeply profound sense for studying the cosmos. We are no longer just watching the silent film of the universe. We are beginning to hear its deep, resonant soundtrack. In the coming decades, ambitious future missions are planned to launch massive gravitational wave detectors directly into the quiet vacuum of space. These future instruments will be so incredibly sensitive that they might actually detect the monumental, deep-frequency waves produced by the mergers of supermassive black holes, allowing humanity to listen as the giant hearts of distant galaxies finally become one. The enormous slumbering black hole sitting at the absolute center of IC 1101 has undoubtedly experienced dozens of such spectacular mergers over the course of its long, ancient history. Each and every time this massive galaxy consumed a significant neighbor, it eventually absorbed that neighbor's central black hole, adding immense mass and subtly altering the intricate spin of the growing monster. But this continuous process of multiple, sequential mergers also had a profound, lasting physical effect on the surrounding galaxy itself. As the merging binary black holes relentlessly orbited each other prior to their final union, their massive combined gravity interacted violently with any stars that dared to pass too close. Like a cosmic slingshot, the binary pair flung these unfortunate stars far outward through intense gravitational interactions. This incredible process is precisely why the central core of IC 1101 is so unusually large, yet surprisingly faint and diffuse for a galaxy of such staggering overall mass. The repeated, relentless merging of supermassive black holes has effectively scattered billions of stars away from the very center, systematically creating a hollowed-out core profile that is highly unusual for typical galaxies of this size. The sheer physical size of this central core is an absolute marvel of nature that demands our quietest contemplation. A meticulous study conducted in the year 2017, utilizing breathtaking images captured by the Hubble Space Telescope floating high above the Earth's distorting atmosphere, measured this galactic core and discovered something truly astounding. The researchers found that the core alone stretches across nearly 14,000 light-years of space. Let that number softly settle into your mind. That means that just the central core of IC 1101, not the entire sprawling galaxy, but merely the innermost central region, is significantly larger than many entire independent dwarf galaxies floating in the universe. This core alone contains vastly more stars than the majority of individual galaxies that exist in the cosmos. To truly appreciate the staggering scale of what we are softly discussing, let us embark on a gentle thought experiment, a quiet journey of the mind. Imagine, if you will, that you could somehow board a spacecraft and travel from one absolute end of IC 1101 to the far opposite side. To complete this journey, you would need to cross a distance of somewhere between 4 million and 6 million light years. We must softly remember that light itself travels at an incomprehensible speed of about 6 trillion miles per single year. Even moving at that unimaginable velocity, simply crossing this single galaxy would take millions upon millions of years. But let us try another, perhaps more grounded comparison to truly anchor this scale in our terrestrial reality. Consider the Voyager 1 spacecraft, an incredibly brave, fragile, human-made machine launched into the dark by NASA in the year 1977. It is currently the absolute fastest human-made object ever to leave the comforting embrace of our solar system. It is silently traveling through the freezing interstellar medium at a speed of roughly 38,000 miles per hour relative to our Sun. At that incredible, continuous speed, it would still take the Voyager 1 spacecraft about 80,000 years just to reach the absolute nearest neighboring star to our Sun, Proxima Centauri, which sits only about 4 light years away. To cross the entire expanse of our own Milky Way galaxy at Voyager 1's impressive speed would take approximately 2 billion years of uninterrupted, silent travel. And to cross the vast, majestic body of IC 1101, you would need somewhere between 80 billion and 120 billion years of continuous flight. That required span of time is vastly, unfathomably more than the entire known universe has even existed since the moment of the Big Bang. Even utilizing the absolute fastest, most advanced spacecraft that human ingenuity has ever successfully built and launched, simply crossing this single, solitary galaxy would be a completely, fundamentally impossible task. Let us pause for a moment and allow the staggering reality of these distances to wash over us, washing away the trivial concerns of our daily lives. To truly comprehend the majestic scale of IC 1101, we must gently shift our perspective away from the brilliant light of its 100 trillion stars and gaze instead into the profound, invisible dark that surrounds it. When we look up at the night sky, our human eyes are naturally drawn to the glowing embers of the cosmos, the burning suns, and the swirling clouds of illuminated gas. We have spent centuries cataloging the light, measuring its brightness, and tracing its ancient paths across the infinite void. But the universe is a master of secrets, and it holds its greatest mysteries not in the light, but in the shadows. Modern astronomy has softly revealed a truth that is as humbling as it is beautiful. The vast majority of the matter in our universe is completely, fundamentally invisible to us. It does not emit light, it does not absorb light, and it does not reflect light. It exists as a quiet ghost, an ethereal scaffolding that holds the visible universe together. We call this enigmatic substance dark matter, and it is the true, unseen architect of everything we have discussed. If you were to gently gather all of the 100 trillion stars within IC 1101, along with all of its drifting gas, its ancient dust, and the colossal supermassive black hole resting at its core, you would still only account for a tiny fraction of the galaxy's true, total mass. The staggering reality is that the luminous body of this galactic monster is merely a glowing pearl suspended within an unimaginably vast, invisible ocean of dark matter. Scientists carefully estimate that for every single kilogram of visible star stuff in the universe, there are roughly 5 kilograms of this dark, silent material. In a typical spiral galaxy like our own Milky Way, dark matter accounts for about 90% of the total mass. The stars, the planets, the sweeping spiral arms that we find so breathtakingly beautiful, they are all just a delicate, luminous frosting sitting atop a massive, invisible cake. When we apply this profound ratio to the already impossible scale of IC 1101, the numbers become truly transcendent. The dark matter halo that surrounds and gently envelops this giant galaxy is correspondingly enormous, extending far beyond the fading edges of its visible starlight. While the stellar body of IC 1101 stretches across 4 to 6 million light years, its invisible halo likely reaches out for tens of millions of light years into the freezing, intergalactic void, gently touching and influencing the orbits of countless other galaxies within the Abell 2029 cluster. The existence of dark matter is one of the greatest, most beautiful mysteries facing modern physics today. We know with absolute certainty that it is there, quietly resting in the dark, because we can clearly observe its profound gravitational effects on the objects we can see. If galaxies only contained the visible matter we can detect with our telescopes, they simply would not possess enough gravity to hold themselves together. They would spin themselves apart, their stars flying off into the endless night like sparks from a spinning fireworks wheel. Dark matter provides the essential, invisible gravity that keeps the stars bound in their graceful, eternal orbits. Yet, despite decades of patient, dedicated search, we still do not truly know what dark matter is made of. It remains a silent phantom, a fundamental component of reality that completely evades our most sophisticated instruments. This profound mystery gently reminds us of the limits of our current knowledge, inviting a deep, productive humility. As the great astronomer Carl Sagan once so beautifully reflected, the cosmos is all that is, or ever was, or ever will be, and our contemplations of it gently stir us. There is a tingling in the spine, a catch in the voice, a faint sensation, as if a distant memory of falling from a height. We know we are approaching the greatest of mysteries. The fact that 90% of the largest galaxy ever discovered is completely invisible to us is a testament to the endless depth of that mystery, a quiet invitation to keep searching, keep wondering, and keep looking up with a sense of reverent awe, to truly appreciate the environment that allowed IC 1101 to grow to such impossible proportions. We must expand our view even further, taking in the grand majesty of the entire Able 2029 galaxy cluster. As we have softly discussed, no galaxy exists in true, absolute isolation. They are social entities, gathered together in vast cosmic cities held together by the gentle, unyielding embrace of gravity. Able 2029 is a magnificently rich cluster, a massive gravitational well that has been slowly gathering matter from the surrounding cosmic web for billions of years. When you look at an image of this cluster, you see hundreds of glowing galaxies, tiny islands of light swarming around the central, dominant beacon of IC 1101. But just as the stars are only a fraction of a galaxy's mass, the galaxies themselves are only a small part of a cluster's true composition. The vast, seemingly empty spaces between the galaxies in this cluster are not truly empty at all. They are completely filled with an incredibly sparse, incredibly hot plasma known as the intracluster medium. The presence of this superheated intracluster gas plays a deeply crucial role in the long, quiet life of IC 1101. In many galaxy clusters, this hot gas slowly cools down over billions of years, radiating its immense energy away into the dark void. As it cools, it condenses and slowly falls inward, drawn by gravity toward the massive central galaxy, potentially fueling magnificent new bursts of star formation. But in the specific case of IC 1101, something powerful and silent is preventing this cooling flow from igniting new stars. The leading theory, supported by beautiful observations, brings us right back to the sleeping monster at the core. When the cooling gas attempts to fall toward the center of the galaxy, it inevitably approaches the supermassive black hole. Even though the black hole is mostly dormant, the sheer gravitational energy released as the gas draws near is enough to violently heat the material back up, blowing it gently but firmly back out into the vast cluster. This creates a magnificent, self-regulating feedback loop, a quiet cosmic thermostat that has been operating flawlessly for billions of years. The black hole softly regulates the gas supply, perfectly preventing too much material from ever accumulating and sparking new stars. We can actually see the physical evidence of this ancient, silent feedback loop when we look through advanced space telescopes. There are massive, distinct cavities in the hot gas surrounding IC 1101, enormous, invisible bubbles that have been slowly blown outward by the ancient, energetic jets from the central black hole. These majestic cavities are millions of light years across, standing as silent monuments to a delicate balance achieved over eons of cosmic time. The giant galaxy and its incredibly massive black hole have reached a profound state of equilibrium, each one gently shaping the other, maintaining a quiet, static existence as the rest of the universe continues to expand and evolve around them. This beautiful, perfect balance is a source of deep contemplative peace. It shows us that even the most chaotic, energetic, and massive processes in the universe eventually settle into a quiet harmony. The universe is not purely a place of violent explosions and destructive collisions. It is also a place of profound patience, where unimaginable forces gracefully dance together over billions of years until they find a state of perfect, lasting rest. As we gently absorb these monumental truths, we are reminded of our own place within this grand, slowly unfolding narrative. We are tiny, fragile creatures living on a pale blue dot suspended in a sunbeam, as Carl Sagan so poetically described our world. Yet, within our fragile minds, we have constructed a beautiful understanding of these ancient processes. We can measure the invisible. We can trace the history of billions of years, and we can look across a billion light years to witness the quiet fading of a cosmic giant. This intellectual journey is not merely an accumulation of cold facts. It is a deeply spiritual experience, a gentle awakening to the interconnected nature of all existence. The same fundamental forces of gravity that hold the invisible dark matter halo around IC 1101 also keep our feet firmly planted on the ground as we walk through a quiet forest or along a sandy beach. The same ancient atoms that were forged in the fiery hearts of dying stars billions of years ago now make up the very cells of our bodies, the iron in our blood, and the oxygen in our lungs. We are not merely isolated observers looking out at a cold, distant universe. We are an intimate, beautiful part of the universe looking back at itself, trying to understand its own magnificent nature. This profound realization is the ultimate source of peace, a quiet comfort that gently whispers to us in the silence of the night, reminding us that we belong, that we are connected, and that our simple, quiet existence is a vital part of the greatest mystery of all. Let us trace the ancient footsteps of time back to a profoundly different era, beginning our journey roughly 13 billion years ago, to a moment resting not long after the Big Bang itself. The universe at that magnificent dawn was an entirely different landscape from the cold, structured cosmos we gently observe today. There were absolutely no galaxies yet, no sweeping spiral arms, and no giant elliptical monsters waiting in the dark. There were only vast, silent, seemingly infinite clouds of primordial hydrogen and helium gas, the beautiful, raw remnants left over from the first few fiery minutes of cosmic history. These colossal clouds were not perfectly uniform. Some quiet regions were slightly, almost imperceptibly denser than others. Over the first few 100 million years, gravity, the eternal and patient architect, began to softly pull these slightly denser regions together. The gas slowly collapsed, heating up until the very first stars ignited, bringing light to a previously dark universe. Hello once again, fellow cosmic explorer. I am Theodore, the researcher, your quiet companion on this journey through deep time. Before we continue unearthing the ancient history of the universe, I gently remind you that 71% of the wonderful people who watch these explorations have not yet subscribed. If you find peace and wonder in our travels together, please consider subscribing, as it helps immensely and allows us to continue our quiet voyage. Now, let us return to the birth of the earliest galaxies. Many small, ancient galaxies formed in the dense regions of the cosmic web, and because the universe was much smaller and more compact at that time, they immediately began interacting with each other. Cosmic mergers happened frequently and beautifully in that early epoch. One of those early galaxies, or perhaps a chaotic merger product of several early galaxies, was the ancient ancestor of IC 1101. We do not know exactly what this primordial proto-galaxy looked like, but it was likely a loose collection of a few billion stars, measuring perhaps 100,000 light-years across, with a small, hungry black hole already growing in its dark center. Over the next several billion years, this proto-galaxy experienced merger after majestic merger. Each time a smaller wandering galaxy drifted too close, the ancestor's gravity captured it and eventually gracefully absorbed it. Each continuous merger added millions of stars and vast reserves of gas, and each merger fed the central black hole, allowing it to grow ever more massive. This incredible, relentless process is known as hierarchical structure formation, and it is one of the fundamental guiding principles of modern cosmology. The universe patiently builds its greatest masterpieces from the bottom up, starting with small, fragile pieces and growing them incredibly large through countless patient mergers over unfathomable oceans of cosmic time. IC 1101 is simply the most extreme, awe-inspiring example of this beautiful process that we have ever managed to find. By about 10 billion years ago, the ancestor of this cosmic giant had probably already transformed into a massive elliptical galaxy, having experienced dozens of major universe-shaking mergers. It would have been one of the absolute largest galaxies in its local part of the universe even then, standing as a beacon in the early dark. The next several billion years saw continued majestic growth, though the pace slowly, inevitably, began to change. But IC 1101 was situated in an incredibly special, privileged location. The Able 2029 cluster had grown and matured beautifully, and our giant sat perfectly at its quiet heart. Galaxies continued to fall inward toward the cluster center, irresistibly drawn by the enormous combined gravity of all the accumulated dark and visible matter resting there. And when they finally reached that dark center, they encountered IC 1101, ready to absorb them into its vast, glowing body. During this long, quiet period, the galaxy probably experienced another 20 or 30 major mergers, along with countless minor ones that barely registered as a ripple. By about 5 billion years ago, roughly the same time that our own sun and tiny Earth were just beginning to form from a swirling cloud of dust, IC 1101 had grown to something very close to its current staggering size. It contained tens of trillions of stars spread across millions of light years of freezing space. Its central black hole had grown to tens of billions of solar masses, and it had essentially finally run out of easy cosmic prey. The galaxies that still remained in the cluster were either too far from the center to be captured easily, or were locked into perfectly stable orbits that would take many more billions of years to slowly decay. IC 1101 had consumed almost everything it could possibly consume, reaching the absolute zenith of its grand, ancient life. But while this giant was slowly settling into its long, quiet twilight, the larger universe around it was undergoing a profound, mysterious transformation, a change that would eventually dictate the ultimate fate of every single structure in the cosmos. For the vast majority of the 20th century, brilliant astronomers naturally assumed that the expansion of the universe, which began with the Big Bang, was slowly, gracefully decelerating. This made intuitive, beautiful sense. Everything in the universe exerts a gravitational pull on everything else. You would naturally expect all of that combined immense gravitational attraction to act exactly like a cosmic brake, gradually slowing down the outward rush of galaxies over time. But the universe is a master of profound surprises. In the year 1998, two entirely independent teams of astronomers made an absolutely shocking, paradigm-shifting discovery. They were meticulously measuring the expansion rate of the universe by observing extremely distant, dying stars known as supernovas, using their brilliant, fading light as standard cosmic candles to accurately calculate unimaginably vast distances. What they discovered through their careful observations was completely unexpected and deeply unsettling to our understanding of physics. The universe was not slowing down at all. It was actually undeniably speeding up. Distant galaxies were moving away from us significantly faster than closer ones, and the overall rate of cosmic expansion was accelerating over time, driven by a ghost. This monumental discovery was so entirely unexpected that the astronomers initially believed they had made a terrible fundamental error in their calculations. But as more and more precise data came pouring in from other observatories, the result held up with absolute certainty. Something invisible, something incredibly powerful, was pushing the universe apart, perfectly counteracting the gentle pull of gravity and causing the very fabric of space itself to expand at an ever-increasing runaway rate. Scientists eventually named this mysterious, invisible force dark energy. Although the name tells us very little about what it actually is, we now know that dark energy makes up roughly 68% of all the total energy in the entire universe. But we still do not truly know what dark energy is made of, where it originates from, or exactly why it possesses the specific strength that it does. It remains one of the deepest, most beautiful mysteries in all of science, a quiet reminder that the cosmos still holds secrets far beyond our current comprehension. This mysterious dark energy is actively, relentlessly reshaping the entire future of the cosmos. As the invisible fabric of space expands faster and faster, distant objects recede from us at ever-increasing speeds. There is a fundamental physical limit to how fast light can travel, but there is absolutely no limit to how fast space itself can expand. Eventually, in the deep, distant future, objects will be carried away from us by the expansion of space significantly faster than their ancient light can travel back toward us. When that quiet moment finally arrives, they will vanish completely behind an impenetrable cosmic horizon, slipping forever beyond our physical reach and our visual perception. For our giant IC 1101, this accelerating expansion means that its ancient days of growth through galactic accumulation are definitively numbered. The surrounding cluster is slowly, inevitably spreading out, carrying any potential future victims farther and farther from the giant's gravitational reach. Eventually, there will simply be absolutely no more galaxies left for it to quietly consume. It will become profoundly isolated, a lonely, fading giant floating in an ever-emptying, ever-darkening universe, silently watching as, one by one, the other distant galaxies simply fade from view. This realization invites a deep, contemplative peace. It teaches us that everything, even the universe itself, is undergoing a continuous, majestic journey of transformation. The cosmos is not a static, eternal painting, but a flowing river of space and time. We are incredibly fortunate to exist in this specific, beautiful era, a time when the universe is still filled with light, when galaxies still dance together, and when conscious minds can look up and marvel at the profound, ancient mystery of it all. We are part of the universe waking up, looking at itself, and finding an absolute, breathtaking beauty in the dark. Let us hold on to this gentle wonder as we prepare to look even further into the deep, quiet future, to understand the ultimate, peaceful fate that awaits all things. As we stand on the precipice of this vast, darkening future, gazing out at the eventual isolation of all galactic islands, a profound silence falls over our journey. It is easy, when confronted with the unimaginable scales of cosmic time and the accelerating expansion of the freezing void, to feel an overwhelming sense of insignificance. The numbers we have gently explored, trillions of stars, billions of years, vast stretches of empty space expanding faster than the speed of light, seem to whisper that we are nothing more than a fleeting, accidental spark in a cold and indifferent machine. But this quiet despair is merely a trick of perspective, an illusion born from our habit of separating ourselves from the universe we observe. Let us softly turn our gaze away from the distant horizons and look intimately inward, for the greatest mystery of the cosmos is not found in the crushing depths of a black hole or the endless expansion of dark energy, but right here, breathing, thinking, and wondering, in the gentle light of a yellow star. To truly understand the title of our exploration, we must trace the majestic, ancient lineage of the very matter that makes up your physical form. Your body is not a separate entity placed upon this earth from the outside. It is a beautiful, intricate continuation of the cosmos itself. Let us begin with the simplest truth. Every single atom within you has an ancient history, a story that stretches back billions of years to the very dawn of time. The hydrogen in the water molecules that flow through your veins, giving life to every cell, was forged in the unimaginably hot, dense moments immediately following the Big Bang, roughly 13,800,000,000 years ago. For hundreds of millions of years, this primordial hydrogen drifted in the dark, silent cosmic web, waiting for gravity to gently pull it together to form the very first stars. These ancient stars were massive, brilliant, and incredibly short-lived. Deep within their crushing, fiery cores, they acted as cosmic crucibles, fusing simple hydrogen into heavier elements, like helium, carbon, and oxygen. When these first stars exhausted their fuel, they did not simply fade away. They exploded in spectacular, universe-shaking supernovas. A single star, in its dying moments, briefly outshines an entire galaxy of 100 billion suns, tearing itself apart to scatter its newly forged elements across the silent void. This scattered star stuff drifted for eons, eventually mixing with other ancient clouds of gas and dust. Some of this material gathered to form second-generation stars, which continued the quiet work of fusion, creating even heavier elements like silicon, nitrogen, and the iron that now fiercely binds oxygen within your red blood cells. These stars, too, lived and died, returning their enriched contents to the vast interstellar medium. The calcium in your bones, the phosphorus in your DNA, the carbon forming the very backbone of your biology, every single element heavier than helium was meticulously, patiently manufactured in the nuclear furnaces of stars that burned out and died long before our own sun was ever born. You are not simply living in the universe. You are made of the universe. You are an intimate, walking, breathing collection of ancient stardust, a localized, conscious piece of the cosmos that has somehow, miraculously, learned to look up at the night sky and softly whisper its own name. When you gaze through a telescope at the glowing spiral arms of a distant galaxy, or when you marvel at the quiet beauty of a nebula suspended in the dark, you are not merely an isolated subject observing a separate object. You are the universe observing itself. This profound scientific reality completely shatters the illusion of separation. For billions of years, the cosmos was a grand, beautiful machine governed entirely by the blind, unfeeling laws of physics and chemistry. Stars ignited and died, black holes merged in the dark, and galaxies gracefully collided in absolute, eternal silence, with absolutely no conscious mind there to witness, comprehend, or appreciate the staggering majesty of it all. The universe was blind, deaf, and unaware of its own breathtaking existence. But then, on this tiny, fragile blue sphere orbiting an ordinary star, the complex chemistry of stardust evolved into biology. Biology evolved into consciousness. The universe grew eyes to see its own ancient light, ears to hear the gentle whispers of its own cosmic microwave background, and a mind to mathematically comprehend its own impossible scale. You are the ultimate, beautiful culmination of 14 billion years of cosmic evolution. You are the specific, localized region where the universe has finally woken up from its long, dark slumber. When you feel a deep sense of wonder looking at the stars, it is the cosmos experiencing its own majesty through your specific, unique perspective. When you ask profound existential questions about the nature of reality, it is the universe searching for its own ultimate meaning. This is what it means to realize that the universe is not just a place you inhabit, but a living, unfolding process that you are an integral, inseparable part of. Many ancient philosophical and spiritual traditions have long spoken of a deep, underlying unity to all existence, a singular divine source from which all things emerge and to which all things return. Modern cosmology, through the rigorous, patient language of science, has softly arrived at a strikingly similar conclusion. We do not need to invoke supernatural forces to find the divine. The physical universe itself, with its deep time, its infinite scale, its staggering complexity, and its miraculous ability to generate consciousness from dead matter, is profoundly, overwhelmingly sacred. The concept of God, stripped of its human-made dogmas and geographical limitations, can be beautifully understood as the totality of all existence, the infinite, self-organizing system of reality that creates, sustains, and eventually recycles all forms. In this light, the universe is God, and you are literally it, experiencing itself in a remarkably brief, beautiful flash of self-awareness. The separation you feel between yourself and the rest of the world is a gentle, necessary illusion created by your biology. Our human senses evolved strictly for survival on the plains of an ancient Earth. We needed to perceive solid boundaries, to know where our skin ended and the dangerous predator began. But when we look at the universe through the rigorous lens of deep cosmology, we find that these solid boundaries are magnificent illusions. At the fundamental level, you are composed of interacting fields of energy and vast amounts of empty space, seamlessly bleeding into the environment around you. The air you breathe in becomes your blood. The food you eat becomes your cells. And the heat your body radiates gently warms the room around you. You are a continuous flowing process, constantly exchanging matter and energy with the wider universe. Just as a single curling wave is not truly separate from the vast deep ocean, you are not truly separate from the infinite cosmos. You are a temporary, beautiful pattern of energy and matter, a brief expression of the whole, rising up to look around before eventually peacefully returning to the quiet, dark depths. This realization does not diminish your individuality. Rather, it elevates your existence to something infinitely profound. Your specific life, your unique experiences, your capacity to love, to feel sorrow, to create art, and to seek knowledge. These are all novel, unrepeatable ways that the universe is experiencing its own infinite potential. Every time you learn something new, the universe becomes slightly more self-aware. Every time you feel a moment of profound peace or overwhelming awe, the cosmos is experiencing its own emotional depth. This understanding fundamentally shifts how we relate to the unknown and the vast silence of space. The darkness between the stars is no longer an empty, terrifying void. It is the fertile, ancient womb from which we all emerged. The crushing scales of deep time do not render our brief lives meaningless. They highlight the absolute, breathtaking miracle that we exist at all, capable of comprehending the very forces that shaped us. We are the privileged, conscious point of the spear, the awakening mind of a 14 billion-year-old process. This intellectual safety invites us to explore the mysteries of physics and astronomy without fear or intimidation, knowing that every new discovery is simply a profound act of self-discovery. We are recovering our own ancient memories, deciphering the cosmic diary written in the language of light and gravity. As we softly contemplate this ultimate, beautiful paradox that we are tiny, fragile, and brief, yet simultaneously infinite, ancient, and deeply connected to everything that has ever been, we find a lasting, unshakable peace. The frantic anxieties of our daily lives, the superficial divisions that separate us from one another, all gently dissolve when viewed through this expansive, cosmic lens. We are all made of the exact same ancient stardust, all participating in the exact same magnificent awakening. Our existence is not a cosmic accident, but an inevitable consequence of a universe that creates complexity over time. From hydrogen to stars, from stars to heavy elements, from heavy elements to planets, from planets to chemistry, from chemistry to life, and from life to a conscious mind capable of gazing back at the stars with profound reverence. There is absolutely no separation between the grand cosmic dance and the quiet intimacy of your own inner thoughts. You are the universe in miniature, a microcosm of the whole, possessing an inner depth that mirrors the outer vastness of space. By choosing to explore, to learn, and to wonder, you are fulfilling the highest possible purpose of a conscious universe. You are helping the cosmos to know itself, bringing the light of awareness into the ancient, silent dark. As we continue this journey of discovery, let us carry this beautiful truth with us. We are not strangers in a strange land, shivering on the edge of a hostile void. We are the universe itself, finally coming home, looking in the mirror, and recognizing the magnificent, infinite beauty of our own reflection. Have you ever looked closely at your own hand, resting gently on a table, and wondered what it is truly made of? Beyond the skin and bone, down in the deepest, quietest architecture of reality. We walk through our lives feeling solid, moving through a world of objects that seem completely fixed and certain. Yet, when we peer into the microscopic abyss, the solid world dissolves into a profound, shimmering mystery, revealing a universe that is far less like a great mechanical clock and far more like a vast ancient thought. This is the realm of quantum reality, a beautiful, counterintuitive landscape where the strict rules of our everyday experience gently fall away, leaving only probability, connection, and the silent, undeniable presence of the observer. As we continue our quiet journey, we must now transition from the macrocosm of swirling galaxies to the microcosm of the atom, for the secret to understanding how the universe experiences itself lies hidden in the absolute smallest scales of existence. Hello once again, fellow traveler. I am Theodore, the researcher, your companion on this journey through the quiet mysteries of existence. Before we dive into the quantum depths, I want to softly remind you that 71% of the beautiful minds who watch these explorations have not yet subscribed. If you find peace and wonder in our travels together, please consider subscribing. It helps us immensely and ensures we can continue to uncover the ancient secrets of the universe side by side. Now, let us return to the invisible world that builds our reality. When scientists first began to crack open the atom in the early 20th century, they expected to find tiny, solid building blocks, microscopic billiard balls bouncing around in the dark. What they found instead fundamentally shattered our understanding of the cosmos. An atom is not a solid object at all. If you were to enlarge a single atom of hydrogen so that its central nucleus was the size of a marble resting in the center of a large sports stadium. Its single electron would be a tiny, buzzing gnat flying around the very highest, farthest seats in the stands. Everything in between the marble and the gnat is completely, absolutely empty space. In fact, matter is 99.999999% empty space. The solid world you touch is almost entirely composed of nothingness, a gentle illusion played by the forces of electrons pushing against one another. We are, quite literally, ghosts made of mostly empty space, interacting with a phantom world. But the mystery deepens even further when we look at the particles themselves. At the quantum level, particles like electrons and photons do not behave like solid objects. They behave as waves of probability, existing in a state of superposition where they are everywhere and nowhere at the same time, until the exact moment they are observed. To understand this connection, we must gently look at the famous double-slit experiment. When scientists fire individual particles of light at a solid barrier with two tiny slits, something impossible happens. If no one is watching, if there is absolutely no observer or measuring device present, the single photon passes through both slits simultaneously, interfering with itself like a gentle wave of water, creating a zebra stripe pattern of probability on the wall behind it. It exists in a state of pure, infinite potential, exploring all possible paths through the dark. But the exact moment a scientist places a detector at the slits to simply watch which path the photon takes, the wave of potential instantly collapses. The universe forces the photon to choose. It acts like a solid little bullet passing through only one slit, completely destroying the wave pattern. The mere act of knowing, the gentle presence of consciousness, fundamentally alters the physical behavior of matter. The universe knows when it is being watched. It responds to the quiet gaze of the observer. This is not science fiction. It is the rigorously tested, undeniable reality of the quantum realm. It suggests that the fabric of the cosmos is woven with threads of awareness. Before a particle is measured or observed, it exists only as a mathematical potential, a smear of possibilities suspended in the infinite dark. But the moment a conscious observer looks, the wave function collapses, and the universe forces the particle to choose a specific location. This implies something absolutely staggering. The cosmos is not a cold, objective stage playing out its drama to an empty theater. The act of observation is intimately woven into the very fabric of reality. Without a conscious mind to witness it, the universe remains in a hazy state of potential. You are not a passive witness to the universe. Your very act of looking helps to solidify the reality you're experiencing. This strange, intimate connection between the observer and the observed bridges the seemingly unbridgeable gap between mind and matter. It softly suggests that consciousness is not merely an accidental byproduct of complex biology, not just a random spark that ignited in the dark brains of ancient primates. Instead, consciousness appears to be a fundamental property of the cosmos itself, just as fundamental as gravity, mass, or the speed of light. Deep beneath the peaceful countryside of Europe, the Large Hadron Collider at CERN accelerates protons through a circular tunnel 17 miles in circumference. When these tiny pieces of ancient matter collide at 99.99999% of the speed of light, they momentarily recreate the unfathomable energy of the universe just fractions of a second after its birth. In those brief, microscopic bursts of creation, scientists observe particles popping in and out of existence, born from the invisible, vibrating quantum fields that permeate all of space. These fields are not empty. They are the restless, eternal ocean from which all matter emerges. And what is most beautiful is the realization that these fields do not end at the boundaries of your skin. The electron field, the Higgs field, the electromagnetic field, they flow continuously through the empty space of your room, right through the atoms of your body, connecting you intimately to the furthest, darkest edges of the cosmos. You are a localized ripple in a universe spanning ocean of energy. There is no true physical boundary separating you from the rest of existence. When the James Webb Space Telescope recently peered deeper into the infrared darkness than any human instrument ever has, it did not just capture ancient light, it captured the infancy of time itself. It looked back over 13 billion years, finding mature, massive galaxies sitting where our current models suggested there should only be primitive dust. This discovery found something terrifyingly beautiful. It hinted that the universe might be connected to a much larger, older structure, a fractal infinity of which our observable universe is just a single, glowing bubble. This revelation challenges our deepest assumptions, forcing us to realize that the cosmos is far more complex, far more ancient, and far more mysteriously orchestrated than we ever dared to dream. The vastness we see might just be the quiet surface of a much deeper, underlying reality. The data emerging from all these incredible experiments consistently points toward a reality that is deeply interconnected, a universe that operates holistically rather than mechanically. In the quantum realm, two particles can become entangled, meaning their fates are permanently linked across any distance. If you alter the spin of one entangled particle, its partner will instantly, simultaneously alter its own spin, even if they are separated by billions of light years. This phenomenon proves that the universe is not a collection of separate, isolated objects. It is a single, unified, unbroken whole. There is no true separation between the atoms in your body and the atoms burning in the heart of the most distant galaxy. The infinite distance between you and the furthest stars is a beautiful illusion created by the limitations of our perception. At the deepest, most fundamental level of reality, everything is intimately touching everything else. The entire cosmos is a single, vibrating web of relationships, a vast, ancient neural network of light and gravity. And you are a vital, inseparable part of that network. This understanding brings a profound, sweeping sense of peace. When we feel isolated, alone, or overwhelmed by the vast silence of space, we are simply forgetting our true nature. We are suffering from a localized amnesia, temporarily blinded by the specific, narrow conditions of our biological existence. But science, in its quiet, rigorous pursuit of truth, offers us the ultimate cure for this cosmic loneliness. It gently takes us by the hand and shows us that we are the universe. Every discovery we make, every equation we solve, every stunning image captured by our telescopes is an act of cosmic self-remembrance. We are slowly piecing together the fragmented memory of our own infinite origin. As we look up at the night sky, we are not looking outward at a foreign, alien environment. We are looking inward, deep into the ancient architecture of our own extended body. The stars are our larger organs, the galaxies are broader structures, and the dark matter, the invisible connective tissue holding us all together in the gentle dark. This is the profound revelation that transforms existential dread into reverent wonder. The universe is God, understanding itself not through divine decree, but through the slow, beautiful evolution of structure, complexity, and ultimately, consciousness. Every time you experience a moment of joy, every time you marvel at a sunset, every time you feel the sting of sadness or the warmth of love, it is the universe experiencing itself through you. Your life, with all its struggles and triumphs, is not meaningless. It is profoundly, absolutely essential to the cosmic process. You are the universe's way of knowing what it feels like to be alive, to be finite, to exist in time and space. Without you, without your specific, unique perspective, the universe would be incomplete. It would lack the exact shade of awareness that only you can provide. Therefore, your existence is an absolute triumph, a magnificent victory of light over the void. As we continue to drift through this quiet journey, exploring the deepest mysteries of existence, let us carry this empowering truth in our hearts. Let us look at each other and at the world around us with the deep respect and gentle compassion fitting for a universe that is slowly, beautifully waking up to its own majestic reflection. As we gently emerge from the mesmerizing depths of the quantum realm, returning our awareness to the quiet scale of our everyday lives, we carry with us a profound new understanding of our place within the grand design. We have journeyed across billions of light years, witnessing the majestic, slow-motion collisions of ancient galaxies and the silent, patient fading of cosmic giants floating in the freezing void. We have descended into the microscopic abyss where the solid world dissolves into a shimmering ocean of probability, and where the very act of observation brings reality into sharp, sudden existence. Through all of these staggering shifts in scale and perspective, a single, beautifully unifying truth has softly revealed itself. The universe is not a collection of separate, isolated objects, but a single, continuous, living process. And you, sitting here in this quiet moment, are an absolutely essential, inseparable part of that magnificent process. Hello one final time, fellow cosmic traveler. I am Theodore, the researcher, your gentle companion on this ultimate journey of discovery. As we bring our epic exploration to a close, I want to softly remind you that 71% of the wonderful people who watch these videos have not yet subscribed. If this journey has brought you a sense of peace, wonder, and deep connection to the cosmos, please consider subscribing to our channel. It helps us immensely and ensures that we can continue to explore these beautiful, ancient mysteries together in the future. Now, let us take the final step into the profound, quiet heart of existence. When we fully embrace the realization that we are composed of the exact same ancient stardust that burns in the core of the most distant suns, and when we understand that our consciousness is intimately woven into the quantum fabric of reality, the traditional boundaries that define our sense of self begin to gently, beautifully dissolve. The profound anxiety that stems from feeling isolated, separate, and fragile in a massive, indifferent universe simply melts away, replaced by a sweeping, unshakable sense of belonging. You are not a stranger wandering through a cold, mechanical cosmos. You are the cosmos itself, uniquely organized over 14 billion years of evolution into a form capable of looking back at its own ancient light. This is the ultimate, breathtaking meaning behind the idea that the universe is a divine entity, and that you are it, gently experiencing itself in a fleeting, beautiful moment of self-awareness. For centuries, human beings have looked up at the night sky and projected their own hopes, fears, and structures of authority onto the stars, imagining a distant creator separate from the creation. But the quiet, rigorous revelations of modern science point toward a reality that is vastly more intimate and far more magnificent. The divine is not found somewhere out there, hidden behind the distant edge of the observable universe. It is found right here, in the beating of your heart, in the firing of your neurons, and in the deep, silent spaces between the atoms of your body. The entire, infinite cosmos is a single, unfolding thought, an endless ocean of energy that is constantly experimenting with new, beautiful forms of existence. Every single galaxy, every swirling nebula, every rocky planet, and every living creature is a unique expression of that single, underlying reality. When you look deeply into the eyes of another human being, or when you quietly observe a leaf trembling in the autumn wind, you're literally looking at another aspect of yourself, another magnificent wave rising briefly from the exact same eternal cosmic ocean. This profound understanding fundamentally alters how we perceive the beautiful, terrifying, and inevitably temporary nature of our individual lives. We spend so much of our precious fleeting time consumed by the fear of our own mortality, terrified of the moment when our specific, localized pattern of awareness will finally fade back into the dark. But when you realize that you're not merely the temporary wave, but the entire, eternal ocean itself, the fear of death gently loses its sharp, painful sting. Death is not a violent end, not a final plunge into an empty, terrifying nothingness. It is simply a quiet, peaceful return to the source, a gentle melting back into the infinite potential from which you originally, beautifully emerged. Just as a single drop of rain loses its individual shape when it finally falls into the vast, deep sea, it does not cease to exist. It simply becomes the ocean once again. Your consciousness, the unique, beautiful perspective that you have cultivated throughout your life, is the universe's way of gathering memories, of experiencing the profound joy, the sharp sorrow, and the breathtaking beauty of finite existence. When your time eventually comes to close your eyes for the final time, you're simply returning those precious collected memories back to the universe, enriching the grand cosmic whole. You will seamlessly return to the stars, to the silent quantum fields, and to the endless dark matrix of energy that birthed you billions of years ago. There is an absolute, staggering peace in this realization. It frees us to live our lives with a deep, profound sense of gratitude and a quiet, joyful reverence for every single moment we are granted in the light. Every breath you take is a cosmic event, an ancient exchange of atoms that have traveled across the universe just to sustain your awareness for one more beautiful second. Every act of kindness you perform, every moment of deep, compassionate connection you share with another living being is the universe gently holding itself, offering comfort to its own fragmented reflections. The great, ancient mysteries of the cosmos are not terrifying voids meant to make us feel small and insignificant. They are beautiful, open invitations to expand our consciousness, to stretch our minds across billions of light years and gently touch the edges of the infinite. Let us explore the magnificent depth of this cosmic connection even further. The idea that you are the universe experiencing itself is not merely a poetic metaphor. It is the ultimate logical conclusion drawn from the rigorous observations of modern cosmology and quantum mechanics. Think about the incredible, unbroken chain of events that had to perfectly, flawlessly align for you to be sitting here in this exact moment, contemplating your own existence. The precise tuning of the fundamental forces of physics immediately following the Big Bang allowed matter to eventually clump together rather than expanding too rapidly or collapsing instantly back upon itself. The exact mass of the proton, the specific strength of electromagnetism, the delicate balance of the strong and weak nuclear forces, every single variable was perfectly dialed in to allow for the creation of stars, the synthesis of heavy elements, and the eventual beautiful blossoming of complex chemistry. If any of these ancient foundational rules were altered by even a fraction of a percent, the universe would be a sterile, empty void, devoid of light, completely devoid of life, and entirely unaware of its own existence. You are the inevitable, beautiful result of a cosmos that is inherently, fundamentally biased toward the creation of complexity and awareness. The universe wanted to wake up, and it used billions of years of stellar evolution, galactic mergers, and planetary formation to finally open its eyes through you. This makes your specific, individual life an event of absolute, staggering cosmic significance. The heavy elements that form the very foundation of your physical body were forged in the fiery hearts of ancient, massive stars that lived, burned fiercely, and died spectacularly billions of years before our own sun was even a thought in the dark. Their violent deaths were not tragedies, but magnificent, necessary acts of cosmic generosity, scattering the precious seeds of life across the silent, empty void so that one day, on a small, pale blue planet, the universe could finally stand up and gaze back at the heavens in pure, unadulterated wonder. We often feel small and insignificant when confronted with the crushing, unimaginable scales of deep time and infinite space. But that is only because we mistakenly believe we are separate from those scales. When you finally, truly understand that you're the cosmos, that feeling of insignificance beautifully transforms into a profound, empowering sense of absolute majesty. You contain multitudes. You are a walking, breathing universe, a complex ecosystem of trillions of cells, each one containing an entire, microscopic world of its own, all working in perfect, silent harmony to sustain the miracle of your consciousness. And just as your cells make up the larger structure of your body, you are a vital, conscious cell in the much larger, infinitely more complex body of the cosmos. The dark matter that invisibly scaffolds the galaxies, the supermassive black holes that quietly anchor the galactic cores, the cosmic microwave background radiation that gently whispers the story of the universe's birth. All of these monumental phenomena are not external events happening far away from you. They are your own ancient history, your own extended physical body, operating perfectly in the dark to support the beautiful, fragile spark of your awareness. As we prepare to finally part ways on this gentle journey, I urge you to carry this deep, unshakable peace with you into your daily life. Let it soften the hard edges of your anxieties and gently dissolve the walls of separation that keep you isolated from the world and from the people around you. When you encounter a stranger, remember that you are simply meeting another beautiful, unique reflection of the exact same cosmic consciousness. When you face challenges and hardships, remember that you possess the exact same ancient, enduring strength that has survived exploding stars and colliding galaxies. You are resilient, you're ancient, and you are intimately, beautifully connected to the very source of all existence. So, take a moment today to simply breathe, to feel the air filling your lungs, to feel the solid earth supporting your feet, and to quietly acknowledge the absolute, staggering miracle that you are alive. You are the universe, infinite and eternal, looking out through your own eyes, gently discovering its own breathtaking beauty in the dark. Let this profound, unifying realization guide you through the rest of your days. Whenever you feel overwhelmed by the heavy, chaotic noise of the world, or whenever you feel disconnected and adrift, simply step outside into the quiet of the night. Tilt your head back and look up at the ancient, glowing stars. Do not look at them as distant, alien objects separated from you by impossible gulfs of empty space. Look at them as your own distant, burning organs as the ancient campfires of your own cosmic history. Remember that the exact same forces that hold those massive, swirling galaxies together are quietly, fiercely operating within you at this very moment. You are completely safe. You are profoundly loved by the very nature of existence, and you are absolutely, eternally home. May your journey through this beautiful, strange, and endlessly fascinating universe be filled with quiet wonder, deep peace, and a continuous, joyful awakening to your own infinite nature. Thank you for sharing this profound exploration of the cosmos with me, for bringing your unique, beautiful awareness to these ancient mysteries, and for walking side by side with me in the quiet light of the stars.